Hello, happy Wednesday, Dr. Dan Yachter, the chiropractor, and this is news, views, and weekly updates. Each week, I bring you the headlines, all of the news that is fit to print, and keeping you posted, updated on the healthcare landscape, what's coming out, what's in the news each and every week, so you can kind of see what's pertinent to you. And again, these are really, really important articles I'm going to be talking about today, and I'm glad you're with me. A couple of announcements. Of course, this is a little bit off topic, so forgive me for bringing this up, but I am very, very excited. Of course, our very own Lake Mary Little League right now currently is playing for the regional championship up in Georgia. And then when they win, they're up by 3-0 right now. And when they win this game, they're going to move on to Williamsport for their chance. They got about 5 games to become the International World Series champions back-to-back once again. So we are cheering for the Lake Mary Little League team. This is big stuff. Not only has Florida, Lake Mary never won it before, but they've never done it twice in a row. No team I believe, has ever done it twice in a row. So we're rooting for Lake Mary. Go champs. And we're super proud of the team, and they're just doing great. They're steamrolling, and we're proud of these kids who've worked really, really hard to get where they're at. A lot of sacrifices, and just we're thankful for their love of the game. And Lake Mary, just in case you're interested, of course, I'm a big baseball fan. If you're interested, Lake Mary Little League, this area has become a hotbed. Florida is a big baseball state, but this area has become just a hotbed of talent. And again, last year we won the International World Series, Little League World Series championship, and they're going back again to do it back to back. So wanted to just announce that. I've got the game on while we're going through this segment. That's how big of a fan I am. And it's on my phone over here, so I can keep you updated just in case you needed updates. But mark your calendar, August 19th, building a titanium immune system. It's going to be a phenomenal masterclass, 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, August 19th. We want you here. If you're a current active patient, this should be a must for you. Come, bring your spouses, your loved ones, be a part of this masterclass. In a little bit, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be talking about at that masterclass. But I did want to start off by diving into the major topics. There's some major topics, major headlines in healthcare. And we're going to go ahead and start with the first one here, which is the American Academy of Pediatrics calling for, I'm going to go ahead and bring this article up. The American Academy of Pediatrics calls for an end to many exemptions for required vaccines. So there is a group, the AAP advocates for the elimination of non-medical exemptions from immunizations. So that's what's on the radar right now. A major pediatrician group. Again, this is not the Health and Human Services, not under the umbrella of the Health and Human Services. This is not the CDC. This is not the NIH. This is not the FDA. This is just a group on July 28th called for states to stop allowing non-medical exemptions for vaccines required for daycare centers and schools, alleging that letting unvaccinated children attend puts others at risk. And again, we already know that there are a lot of issues behind vaccines, but I just wanted to the reason I'm bringing this article up is to kind of let you know whether you're pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine, or maybe selective in your vaccination schedule. The American Academy of Pediatrics said in a policy statement that medical exemptions to vaccine mandates, which are in place in all 50 states and DC, the District of Columbia, are necessary because there are recognized contraindications. If people have certain conditions, they're advised not to receive certain vaccines because those vaccines can trigger problems. Okay, so again, the exemptions are in place to protect children, and this was put in by the medical associations years ago, that it is important. The medical association said it is important to have the exemptions to protect children who have physical disabilities, physical weaknesses, genetic weaknesses that tend for them to have a greater susceptibility to be injured by the vaccines. So these are really important things to, no matter how you feel about it, these are really important exemptions to have in place. Next article, I'm going to go ahead and just get through these quickly, and the articles are posted in my private group. If you really want to dive deeper, read more about it, then all of them are posted in my private group, My Family, My Mission. You're free to join. We'll let you into the group and go in there, and you could access these articles and read more deeply. But I at least want to, during this segment, cover the high level, the topics, and just kind of the high level concepts or issues that are being discussed in these articles. And so, hey, CC, good afternoon there. I see you coming on board. As always, good to have you with us. And here's another important press release. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services adopts the ACIP recommendation to remove thimerosal from all U.S. influenza vaccines. So all flu shots are going to be experiencing a change as of July 23rd, 2025, just a couple of weeks ago. There's been a decision to take mercury. Thimerosal is a form of mercury. Take it out of the flu vaccines, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services would not be taking it out if they didn't see it as being a problem. So this is a good step in the right direction. Again, if you want to get more information on that article, the full press release is published in my private group, My Family, My Mission. Here is another article, and this is a very important one. I posted the full article in my private group, Large Study. This is a really important one. This is published in the Epoch Times, the health section of the Epoch Times. Large study links daily multivitamin use to increased mortality risk. While nearly 1 in 3 Americans takes a daily multivitamin, a large study challenges the belief that these supplements improve your health or promote longevity. And I believe in the accuracy of this article for a lot of reasons. But again, the article title, Large Study Links Daily Multivitamin Use to Increased Death Rate. Whoa, stop the press. This is an important one. Let's go ahead and dig into this one just a little bit. So let me go ahead and break it down. Bring the article up here. And so I'll give you a little bit of the article here, and then I'm going to give you my input. But rather than extending lifespan, the article mentions, daily multivitamin use is linked to a 4% greater risk of death, according to a large study of healthy U.S. adults conducted by the National Cancer Institute. The 2024 study challenges the common belief that multivitamins improve health and help you live longer, even as nearly 1 in 3 U.S. adults take them with the hope that they'll live longer and live better. The study, led by Dr. Erica Loftfield, the study published in JAMA Network Open, Journal of the American Medical Association Network Open, sheds light on the effects of multivitamin use on longevity and questions the benefits of these popular supplements. Drawing from a lot of data from 3 extensive cohort studies, the research followed almost 400,000 adults across the U.S. for up to 27 years, making it one of the most comprehensive analyses of its kind. Participants, all without a history of cancer or chronic diseases, were part of the study. And so, anyway, it goes on and on. Just so you know, again, a 4% greater likelihood that you die, increased risk of mortality compared to non-users of multivitamins. So, whoa, we need to break this one down here, right? And I, again, posted the whole article in my Facebook group, what gives? And that's pretty crazy or alarming, at least, when you hear that. Okay, multivitamins increase your risk of mortality. Okay, well, a couple of thoughts or a few thoughts on that. Number one, my feeling, and even though it was published in JAMA, there could be, in the medical community, in the medical world, for the most part, not across the board, but for the most part, vitamins, the natural approach to health, it's looked at it with a very skeptical eye. It's looked at with disdain in a lot of ways. A lot of people who are heavily entrenched in the medical world, they just, poo-poo the whole vitamin side of things. So can that skew research? Of course it could. Did that skew this research? I don't know, but that's at least one point to consider. Two, I have always said, and again, I'm not only a doctor of chiropractic, but I have a degree from the University of Florida. For over 30 years. I've been a nutritionist. I have a nutrition degree, been practicing nutrition for decades. Just a lot of study, a lot of writings, a lot of publishing on nutrition. And I can tell you this, there is a very, very wide spectrum when it comes to quality of vitamins, of nutrients, of supplements, of multivitamins. So the question I would have is, one is, what was the prevalent maybe brand? Where were these multivitamins coming from? And I can attest to the fact, as a clinician, I ask patients to bring their vitamins in. If they want me to work with them on that front, I ask them, bring your stuff in. Before I start making recommendations, I want to see what you're taking. And I can attest to this fact, again, after almost 30 years of doing what I do. I'm just going to shoot it straight right now. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you, probably about at least 90% of what my patients are taking initially when they first come in, it's complete toxic garbage. They're getting it from, big box places. They're getting it from, well, I'm not going to name the places, but you know where what I'm talking about, where they're getting the cheapest vitamins. They're getting the in bulk, and it's just garbage quality. And I know this to be a fact because one of the things that I do as a clinician who wants to give their patients, my best, is I also, if I put anything on the shelf, almost 100% of the time I've traveled to that supplement company. I've traveled to their manufacturing plants. I've been in countless manufacturing plants, and I watch with a very cautious eye I watch their quality control. I watch how they're manufacturing, how they're spinning the supplements. I watch the whole process. And I can tell you, there's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of misleading out there. There's a lot of just a lot of hokey stuff going on in the supplement world. And I don't trust the supplement manufacturers. That's why I go to the manufacturers and I watch what they're doing, because the same stuff that I'm putting on my shelf out there, I'm taking myself. I'm giving my own family. And so for many reasons, that being one of them, I want to make sure that there's quality going into my patients' bodies. And so at least 90% of what the public's taking is complete garbage, at least at my perspective, in my opinion, as a clinician when it comes to supplementation. And if it's garbage, it's poisoning you. It's toxifying your body, and that toxicity builds up. So yeah, can that increase the mortality rate? Of course it can. Now, the other viewpoint on this article is, how do you know, even if it's a quality brand, how do you know that you even need that vitamin? I do testing on people and their vitamin C level is perfectly fine. And I tell them, that vitamin C bottle that you're thinking about buying, that's 500 milligrams of vitamin C every day. Well, your lab test over here, the micronutrient test, shows that you're completely sufficient in your vitamin C level. In fact, you're sufficient in your vitamin A, your vitamin E, your vitamin K. In fact, your lab test shows that you don't need it. And if you start, doing mega dosages of those vitamins, even if it's quality, you could push your body physiologically over a cliff and actually create enough of an imbalance where now you create a disease state. So it's really important to test when possible, test to see if you need those nutrients or not. So that's my perspective. And I definitely have other thoughts on that article, but I wanted to post it up there because I think there's truth. Being a nutritionist, I thought it's important to post this article in my group, My Family, My Mission, because yeah, if you go down the wrong path with multivitamins, I've always believed that it can toxify your body, the wrong one, not needing the multivitamin in the first place, even if it's quality. I've always believed that multivitamin usage can toxify you and certainly increase your mortality rate. So really good article to dive into. I recommend, if you have a chance, go to the group, get in there, and dig down a little bit on that article. Here's another great article, again, more on vaccines, because it's just, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but there's a ton of it in the news now. The new CDC advisors to analyze cumulative effect of childhood vaccines. The new chair of the Center for Disease Control said it's important to analyze vaccine safety and efficacy. They're saying there's a huge problem with the amount of vaccines that are given in this country, and it's very different in this country than in other countries. We give way, way more vaccines. For example, the CDC currently recommends that children receive up to 20 vaccine doses in their first year of life alone, compared to 12 recommended in Denmark and a lot less in other countries. So they're starting to evaluate this closely, which I think is a really good thing. Here's another great article. Again, I have the whole article in its entirety published in my private group. I like this one. The Blue Zones, the Power of Nine, the longest living people in the world, all abide by the Power 9 rule. What is the Power 9 rule? These are at least the top 9 things that contribute to the highest level of longevity. Many of them are somewhat common sense, but move naturally. Studies show that sedentary behavior, like sitting for 13 hours a day or walking less than 4,000 steps per day, can reduce the metabolic benefits of acute exercise, while occasional activity could help reduce post-meal insulin levels. So again, you got to move. You want more on that? Get to my master classes. Say yes to happy hour. By now, most everyone has indulged in a non-alcoholic beverage. But again, I think that the benefits of a glass of wine, praised throughout the Blue Zones, I think it has really more to do with socialization, positive relations, contributing to mental and emotional well-being more so than the alcohol. I personally am not a big fan at all of alcohol. I don't, I don't get on patients if they're drinking it. But again, all in all, it doesn't have the health benefits that most people think, or that have been touted by the wine industry. It's more of just the socialization and, again, the positive emotional well-being effect of it. Take time to downshift, more relaxation, finding ways to unwind therapeutically, mentally, emotionally. Here's another one. Give your diet a plant slant, more plant-based, rich plant-based diet. Find your crew. I think it goes without saying. Friendships, lifelong friendships, really good. Loving, supportive relationships lead to long-term improvements in emotional and physical health. Abide by the 80% rule. The 80% rule, okay, basically says when you're starting to feel full, put away part of your meal in a Tupperware container. I must admit, I'm still working on that. I've got a large appetite, and I typically stop when my belly tells me to. My mind doesn't override my belly. My belly typically overrides my mind. I've got a healthy diet, but I have an enormous appetite, probably because I just never stop throughout the day. I burn a huge amount of calories. Last weekend I was home and I had a meal with my nephews. One is how old's Gavin? He's let's see, he's 17. Yeah, 17 now. The other is 25, 26, and they got appetites. They can eat, and you know what? I found myself able to keep up with them, which was somewhat disturbing. But nonetheless, going through the rest of these, just abide by the 80% rule. Listen to your stomach. Get the Tupperware out. Put your loved ones first. Investing time in your family is something that not only pays off emotionally, but in terms of longevity as well. Successful centenarians keep aging parents or grandparents nearby, commit to a life partner, and if they have children, they make an effort to spend time with them. So take care of your parents, take care of your grandparents. They took care of you. We need to take care of them. Find a place you belong. Faith-based services. Research shows that attending a faith-based service 4 times per month, once per week, can add up to 14 years of life expectancy. And know your why. What do I love? What am I good at? What does the world need? What can I be compensated for? When you know your why, you wake up in the morning and have purpose. Research shows that it could add up to 7 years to your life expectancy. So great article. Check it out. Again, it's posted in My Family, My Mission. And we got a couple more for you here posted. Here's another one that I posted in the group. Engineers transform dental floss into needle-free vaccines. A new method places inactivated viruses directly into mice's gums by way of floss. So there's a researcher that I had to wake up every morning, go to the laboratory, and floss the gums of mice. How about that job right there? Flossing may be good for more than getting your dentist off your back. One day, it may also protect you from the flu. In an unorthodox approach to needle-free vaccines, researchers have developed a special kind of floss that can deliver proteins and inactivate viruses to mice's gum lines and trigger immune responses to protect against infectious disease. They reported today in Nature Biomedical Engineering. So whatever you think of that, just wanted to report on the medical breakthrough. And no thank you, in my opinion, no thank you. I'll be just fine without it. But maybe that's your cup of tea. I'm not sure, but I figured I'd report on it anyway. And then we have the last one, again, another vaccine article. This is from the National. Fewer kindergartners are being vaccinated, CDC data shows. This is out of Tampa. Vaccinations among kindergartners declined during the 2024-2025 school year compared to the year before, according to new data from the CDC. Rates dipped to 92.1% for the diphtheria, tetanus, and acellular pertussis vaccine, and to 92.5% for the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine and polio vaccine. Now, whatever you think of this article or this report, it's important to understand there's a reason. And the reason is whether you're, again, pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine or somewhere in the middle, the reason these vaccine rates, not just in kindergarten, but across the board, nationwide, childhood vaccine or vaccination rates are plummeting. And the reason why? People are doing more research. They're learning, they're researching, they're analyzing, they're paying attention to all of the data that's coming out, the concerns that are coming out of the CDC. Even before RFK Jr. became the Health and Human Services Director. And parents are getting smarter. They're asking more questions, and they're not allowing, they're educating before they're vaccinating. Exactly, CC. And they're not allowing pediatricians just to steamroll them anymore. They're asking more questions, and kudos to the parents. They're allowed to, if you're a parent, you're allowed to ask questions. It's your child. If you have a concern about the chemical or chemicals going into your kid's body, you should be able to voice your concerns. And that's exactly what patients are doing, parents are doing, and they're voicing their concerns with holding off, stalling, really maybe delaying vaccinations And they have every right to do so. If a parent is concerned, they can do what they feel is right for their child. Okay. And it's not at the expense of other children, by the way. So again, that's all in there. You'll see these studies all in My Family, My Mission. And again, I implore you, if you're not signed up yet, please sign up. Whether you're a patient, maybe you are a previous patient, maybe you have never been a patient and you just want to come as a guest. These master classes, which I teach going on almost 30 years, they are free. They're free to patients and to the guests they bring. We would love to have you join us on August 19th. Please register. You'll see the links inside of Facebook, all over Facebook. And this next one coming up, how to build a titanium immune system, AKA raising a healthy drug-free family, on August 19th, 6:30 p.m., taught right here in my Lake Mary location out in the big area. You're going to learn about ways you can bulletproof your immune system, strengthen, shield, make strong that immune system so you can withstand any scary pathogen that may be in the environment. You're going to learn the strategies that I've used to raise an incredibly healthy family, 3 incredibly healthy children that have never had a shot in their body, that have never had a drug, not even an aspirin or a Tylenol or an antibiotic. Never. 13, 10, and 8. Hopefully we can keep it that way. Drug-free. How do you raise an incredibly strong family? Or even if you're an adult, how do you create an enormously strong shield that allows you to withstand any threat in the environment that could be a concern for you? Come join us August 19th. We want you there. It's going to be a great night of learning, growing, and elevating. We want you there. And again, I thank you as always each and every Wednesday for joining us for news, views, and weekly updates. Appreciate you being here with us, CC and others. Dr. Dan Yachter, the chiropractor, signing off. See you next week. God bless.